Hey there, true believers. It's coming to you from Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed. Welcome to episode 6 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. I'm your host, Nate Charles, and I'm joined by my co-host, Shane Murray. How you doing tonight, Shane?
Good. How you doing tonight, bud?
Pretty good, man. Had a pretty productive day working on a bunch of stuff between the show and my cosplay charity project and whatnot. Yeah, fairly solid day. What'd you do this weekend?
Went to a birthday party for a friend, played some wiffle ball, played some magic. What about yourself?
Well, before we get to that, it's the more important question. Did you win any of it?
Oh, we won wiffle ball. Did not win any of the magics.
Did you win wiffle ball because you were playing against children?
No, actually, I took all of the children.
Okay, so you had the edge of youth on your side.
Yeah, let's go with that.
All
Let's
right,
not go with that. Our pitcher or the all-time pitcher by the end of the game couldn't even I don't think he could see a straight line. So let's not go with they were just like meatballs waiting to go out into outer space.
fair enough. Fair enough. You asked what I'd done this weekend. I hit up the LCS on Saturday and picked up the latest issue of One World Under Doom. That is a slow burn, like a real slow burn.
I have so much I'm so behind on that. So behind.
And it might just be because there's like, I don't know, 20 tie-in titles to it so they can spread the wealth, but yeah, just the main storyline, very slow burn. It's not that I'm disliking it, by the way. It's just it is what it is, and what it is paced out very methodically. Yeah, how was your Father's Day?
Um, it was all right. I I had one kid, the other kid was at her friends, and then I went and played Magic with the boys. So I didn't really see my kids that much. What about yours? Did you go see your dad?
Yeah, we sat around and talked for a while, imparted some life lessons on me, maybe I should have gotten 25 years ago, but you know, it's the way it works sometimes.
25 years ago, he told you should have got a 401k 25. I finally.
Yeah, we had a lot of talk about finances,
Hmm.
but don't ask me why. It was good though. We had a good time. Gave him his bottle of bourbon for the holiday because that's what he likes.
Man, I think that's just a dad thing.
Potentially, yeah. And then yeah, today I went down, met up with a friend. We went down to the seamstress I work with and got her fitted for a cosplay that we're using for this project that hopefully I can get into a little bit more once it comes together a bit. And yeah, then I wrote up the formats for the show, which we can get into pretty directly here.
Yeah.
So, Shane, any idea why we are covering this week's book, which we forgot to mention what we were covering last week? Today's episode, we are covering Marvel Team Up number 61. What's the significance of this book, Shane?
Um, I'm not positive. I'm assuming is it the first time that Spider-Man and the Human Torch team up?
No, not the first time. I know they met back as far back as Amazing Spider-Man number one. So the reason why we are covering this book today is it is the first John Byrne related Fantastic Four story. And John Byrne is often listed as one of the top creators to have a run on the Fantastic Four. And he handles the art chores in this book today. Uh, Also, writer for this is Chris Claremont, who has also had a run on the Fantastic Four just after Heroes Return. So a couple first time creators that ended up having quite the impact on the series later on. Byrne sooner than Claremont's, but
Claremont was busy doing other stuff.
I don't know what. I mean, really.
Little known stuff. He was just doing indie stuff. That's all.
Yeah. Brand X.
Yeah. No one ever heard of it before.
Only Marvel's high selling book of the time. But, and you know who he was collaborating with on that at the time?
Um, I can't remember actually right off the top of my head.
Starts with a J and ends with an on burn.
John Byrne.
Yeah. So that's why we're covering this book tonight. How do you feel about getting right down to brass tacks and getting started?
Yeah.
All right, so Marvel Team Up, Volume 1, number 61, cover date of September 1977 with a release date of June 21st, 1977. So 48 years ago today by my math. Not today, almost 48 years ago to the day. We still got like 5 days, I think, until that's done. 30 cents got you this book back in the day, Shane.
Yeah. What's that book? What's it run you now? A little bit more than 30 cents.
That's a good question. I'm actually curious now that you brought that up. Hmm. Well, if you want to get this book in mint condition, like a 9.8, you're looking at $185.
That's actually more reasonable than I thought it was going to be.
Near mint's $52.52.
That's a very reasonable book for that period of time.
Yeah. Ungraded, I mean, you're looking at $5.76. So,
Fair enough.
yeah, a little interesting tidbit. Thanks for putting that in my mind. I can start looking up the values of these books as we go forward. Just
Well,
one
some
more
of
thing to add.
well, I was only thinking because well, we know the first three of Fantastic Four are outrageous, outrageous, outrageous.
Yeah. I think the graded copy that our LCS has, which I think was like a 2.5,
Five,
has
yeah.
has a sticker on it for about 10K.
Yep. Yeah.
Too rich for my blood, sadly.
Too rich for my blood. So that's why sometimes it's nice when you can get one of the some of these older books. Especially like this one. This one's cool because it's Claremont and Byrne on a book together.
Very true. So our creative team, like we said, writer is Chris Claremont, penciler John Byrne. The inker for this issue is Dave Hunt. Colorist was Andy Yanchis. Letterer was John Costanza, and the editor was Archie Goodwin. How you feel about a synopsis, Shane?
I feel like I wonder how they can. Is it like a one sentence synopsis on this one? Because this book goes by pretty quick.
Sure is. Spidey lends a web-slinging hand to the Human Torch after the hero is overcome by the Super Skrull.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great synopsis.
Go ahead and take us through the cover here, Shane.
Oh yeah, this cover is great. Spidey's on the ceiling while he has what appears to be Mr. Fantastic arm holding his one arm while he's trying to avoid some fire and a thing hand coming from the other side, and it looks like he has an invisible bubble around his head trying to suffocate him, and then you see in the background it looks like the actual Human Torch coming towards him.
And Spidey's saying on the cover, "Why are the Fantastic Four trying to kill me? If you think Spidey's confused right now, imagine how the Torch feels." And this is one of the things that I really like about this cover is the green background. It doesn't take up much of it, but it really makes the cover pop.
Well, especially with the purple coming off the thing's hand. That's giving you that little bit of doom, so you know that it's like the whole Fantastic Four.
All right, so we open up the book and we get the tagline up top. Stanley presents Spidey and the Torch together. And what's our title this week, Shane?
Not all thy powers can save thee.
And our caption reads, Scene, the Baxter Building. And what's going on in this panel, Shane?
Spider-Man's sitting on a computer console, thinking about how he should help clean up the mess that he just made. Very, because he's a menace. And you see the Thing's fist in the foreground, super big and almost looks like it's the size of Spider-Man.
And he says, What a mess! Better get your act together, Parker. After all, you, Yellow Jacket, and Wasp wrecked Reed Richards' lab during your battle with Equinox. The least you can do is tidy up the place. And according to the editor's note, when did that happen, Shane?
Portrayed in the last issue.
He continues, Yuck! Next time, someone remind me to stay in bed. First things first, Wallcrawler. Namely, staying alive. Hold it. My spidey sense. I'm not alone in here. And the thing's arm crashes into the computer console behind Spider-Man and it makes a sound.
Yeah, giant thwam.
Cripes! That arm! It's the thing! And judging by that punch, he's out for blood. And next, he finds himself dodging a blast of flame, which also makes a sound.
Yep. Whoosh.
Yow! Cut it out, Matchhead! This is Spidey for crying out loud, one of the good guys! He lands on a wall. No answer. A joke's a joke, fellas, but this is getting out of hand. And I'm getting out of here if the FF are really after my scalp. I've got about as much chance of. And he gets knocked off the wall by a force field with another sound.
Yep. Bop.
As the proverbial snowball and hey! Must be the invisible girl's force field, bouncing me off the wall. And he lands and finds himself being wrapped up in the arm of Mr. Fantastic.
The
Here comes
arms.
Mr. Fantastic. Okay, people, I can take a hint. I'm leaving. Strange, they keep hitting me one at a time. As a team, they could have zapped me long ago. On the other hand, they're doing a darn good job individually. No! And what happens, Shane?
An invisible bubble gets put around his head, cutting off his circulation or his breathing.
A force field bubble around my head, cutting off my air. Don't understand. The FF and I've never been the best of friends, but never enemies either. Strangling, but won't give up. Has to be way out. And the arm of Mr. Fantastic reaches for Spider-Man. Dr. Richards, all of you, why are you doing this? Why? And it grabs Spider-Man by the scruff of the neck as the thing's hand prepares to hit him with a blow. Huh? The bubble's gone. I can breathe. Oh, I think this is going to hurt. And that blow connects with a.
Boom! And a crash out the window.
It's a nice perspective shot of the Baxter building.
I really like this fact that it has a little crash so far back so that you get an idea of like what his head feels like right now.
And it also gives you some a weirdly visual audio perspective, which I can appreciate.
Yeah.
I was right. Far out. I'm still alive. And I hurt. All over. My entire body is a walking, talking Excedrin headache. Man, I must be all right. I'm falling to my death, and all I can do is crack jokes. Ha ha. Rolled with the thing's punch. Survived it. Barely. But now what? Body in shock. Nothing seems to work. Can't angle my fall to fire my web shooters. Nothing. I've had it. And what happened, Shane?
What happens is is the Human Torch comes in, rescues him before he falls to his doom.
He armpits him, which I don't think looks all that comfortable.
I don't, I mean, it's probably the safest way to catch him.
Yeah, considering he's otherwise fire, yeah, you're probably not wrong. That's my favorite web slinger, eloquent to the end. Ah, Spidey, where would you be without the human torch, I ask you? This is ridiculous. First Storm and his FF buddies try to kill me, now he saves my life. Something is definitely not right here, and May Parker's bright-eyed nephew is going to find out what it is. Hallelujah, my body's starting to work again. And Flame Brain thinks I'm still out cold, so. And he snaps off a web line with a
Thwap.
and hooks the ledge of a building. Hey, you flip, Spidey? What do you think you're doing? And he begins to pull himself and the torch down. Returning kind for kind, Mr. Storm, with interest. And with his angle of descent, he ends up making the torch crash into the next rooftop.
Yeah, it's a beautifully drawn and like panel, like through the three panels there. I really like seeing that emotion.
I don't feel like we see that enough today in modern books.
No, they definitely cut some stuff out. That is, it really hurts.
Spidey thinks to himself, beautiful if I do say so myself. Just before we hit, I throw my body forward, tossing Torchy down to the roof hard, stunning him, while I roll clear. But the torch doesn't stay down for long. He's airborne pretty directly.
Yeah, he jumped up like it almost like his fire worked as like a force field for him. He just kind of rolled it off. It was like whatever.
So much for that idea. He recovered as fast as I did. You little twerp, what's the big idea? In case you hadn't noticed, Bug Brain, I just saved your red and blue butt. Kind of you, especially after you and the rest of the Fantastic Four just finished using me as a punching bag. I don't take that from anybody, Storm. What are you talking about? Are you saying the FF attacked you? You got it. No way, Spidey. It couldn't have been the FF, because the FF aren't home. And even if we had been, we wouldn't attack you. Then who did? Good question. Must have been someone who can mimic our powers. Oh my god. Without another word, Johnny Storm pivots in midair and streaks for the Baxter building, as if all the demons in hell were snapping at his heels, leaving one very confused wall crawler behind to wonder, what the heck is going on here? If I had any sense, I'd go home and hit the sack. I've got classes in a few hours. Oh, who am I kidding? Whoever zapped me might still be there. And somebody's got to keep Torchy out of trouble. Looks okay for now, though. My spidey sense isn't tingling. Find anything, Hotshot? Spider-Man's perched in the broken window looking at the torch who's flaming off. Torch! You find anything? Yes! You dumb. Do you have any idea what you've done? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm talking about this! A green carved stick? So what? And look, Torchy, why don't you cool your act a little and start from the beginning? If it's important, arguing is only going to make things worse. I guess so. If I'm frazzled, pal, it's because I'm scared. My story will tell you why. It begins with Tigra, a lady who's part human, part cat people. A few months ago, she and Red Wolf tangled with the Rat Pack and their new leader, Joshua Plague. Plague had ripped off this stick, said to be the legendary soul catcher from an Indian tribe. Tiger and Red Wolf figured to take it back. Unfortunately, Plague turned out to be the Super Scroll in disguise. The lady and her Indian friend got stomped, but good. And what's the Super Scroll look like, Shane?
He has a thing hand and a regular like scroll body with that weird shoulder pads that look like a V.
Skrully tried to absorb Tigra's soul into the catcher, only his plan backfired. The totem left Tigra alone and absorbed the Skrull instead. And when did that happen, Shane?
As seen in Marvel Chillers #7.
The soul catcher ended up at the local police headquarters, evidence in a murder. Tiger herself was one of the chief suspects. She figured the totem was too dangerous to be left in just anyone's hands, so despite the risk of arrest, she slipped in one night and borrowed it. Eventually, she brought it to Reed. Why me, Tigra? You fought the Skrull? Look, guys, I have no idea how this thing works. I don't want it stealing anyone else's soul. Or letting Skrully free, neither. How about I break this thing? Accidentally, like. Hmm. And what's Ben struggling to do here?
S- Struggling to break the snow catcher stick.
Yeah, maybe he's too busy concentrating on his cigar.
Yeah, he's trying to do something with that cigar.
Hey, what gives? It ain't breaking. Ben, wait. We're dealing with powers we don't understand. And until we know more, it's best that we do nothing. For the moment, the soul catcher will be protected and harmless inside this stasis safe until I can find a way to neutralize its powers. And Reed goes ahead and puts the soul stick in the wall. The soul catcher. Get brought back to present day. I can guess the rest. During the fight with Equinox, the safe must have been torn open. Yeah, and if the Skrulls managed to bust loose, would it help if I said I was sorry? Torch! Spider-Sense screaming like mad. What do you mean? The room's empty. Tell me about it. What happened, Shane?
A thing's fist comes crashing down next to them, or giant thing's fish. Actually, it looks like there's it's the size of them, and you see a giant wham!
And we turn the page, and what do we see?
The Super Scroll in all of his glory.
Fools! You should have run while you had a moment's chance, and now you've lost both your chance and your puny human lives at the hands of the Super Scroll. Hey, big fella, you think we could talk this over? I guess not. Torchy, my professors are not going to accept this as a valid excuse for missing morning classes. Well, you could always invite him to your funeral. On that note, we shift our scene uptown and to the left to the West Side Station House of the Midtown North Precinct NYPD. DA's office is pushing for an arraignment by next Tuesday. Commanded by Captain Jean DeWolf. Subject to the findings of the Bellevue shrinks. And that just about wraps the Equinox case up. Thank God. Can't help feeling sorry for the boy, though. The evidence seems to indicate that Terry Sorensen was insane as Equinox, but that's the court's problem, not ours. Am I bushed? Let's call it a night. Buy you breakfast, Lieutenant Scarf? Captain DeWolf. What is it, Malloy? Trouble at the Baxter building, Captain. Some kind of fight. It's an all points skipper code 3. So much for breakfast. Let's move, Lieutenant. Where the FF are concerned, this could be anything from a family squabble to the fifth coming of Galactus. As if life in the Big Apple wasn't rough enough already. Since a major action is in your precinct, DeWolf, the Commissioner is giving you tactical command. How about giving me some help, Central? Like Chris Keating's hotshot SWAT goons. They're unavailable. Beautiful. That's quite the old school roadster she's driving there.
Dude, yeah, that seems so out of place. It drives me nuts, but I love it. I mean, I also appreciate her just liking a classic car, but it
Takes
seems
me
really
back
out of place.
to when we did episode 4 in Fantastic Four #3 and they were racing the roadster in the junkyard.
Or when Johnny burnt the first one in issue 1.
Positive thoughts, buddy. Positive thoughts.
I was positive. He positively burnt that first car.
So we turn the page, and a few very fast blocks later, near the West Side Penn Central train yards, what do we see there, Shane?
We see Spider-Man swinging in as the Human Torch and the Super Scroll are all on fire and they're swinging wildly at each other. Above a bunch of boxes that are wood, I would like to say, I'm so surprised that nothing caught on fire in this issue besides them.
And DeWolf and Scarf pull up. DeWolf yells, "Look, the Human Torch and Spider-Man. But who are they fighting?" And Spidey thinks to himself, "Sirens sounds like every cop in New York and then some. No time to think about that now. I've got to get Scrolly off the Torch's back. It's a miracle we've both survived this long. Hey, Lava Lips! Here's web in your eye!"
Yep, splucked.
Nice glob of web fluid in the face. "Spidey, I told you to stay out of this! Watch the arm, Chuckles. It breaks." And what's the scroll doing?
Literally grabbing Spider-Man by the webbing and just about to launch him, using that as like a sling.
Yeah, I'm amazed how he managed to just tear that directly off of himself. It must be the fire.
I would assume.
"Impudent earthling! You dare match yourself against your better! Learn then the error of your ways." And what does he do?
Oh, dude, the thing arm with like the reed extended extendo arm with that great brow as he's getting smacked in the kisser, going flying in the air. I love that's just that's some high quality stuff right there. I love Super Scroll shenanigans.
That is a hell of an uppercut.
That is a second story uppercut.
And Spidey goes flying across the train yards. Me and my big mouth. Oh boy, is my jaw going to be colorful tomorrow morning? Assuming I'm still alive tomorrow morning. I was expecting that punch, braced and ready for it, and it still darn near took my head off. There has to be a better way. Trouble is, if I ever found it, I wouldn't feel like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man anymore. Okay, I've taken all the time I dare. I sure hope my head's clear. And what's he do, Shane?
He catches himself and tries to right himself back into the fight or back in at least the area of the fight, and he swooshes out of the scene and into the next scene.
Because this is one shot I can't afford to miss. Yikes! Talk about your close shaves. Man, if I'd been wearing an extra layer of costume, he almost scraped his glutes right off the ground.
He did.
And he comes swinging towards Captain DeWolf. My upswing's taking me towards the police. That 30s roadster, I'd know it anywhere. Top of the morning to you, Captain DeWolf, ma'am. Can the brogue, wall crawler. It's pathetic. This is Lieutenant Raphael Scarf, Borough Special Operations. What's going on here, mister? The Super Scroll, lady. And he's stronger than ever. Torchy and I have been doing our best, trying to stay alive and keep him busy till some high-powered help arrive. Wait a minute. Those generators give me an idea. A long shot, sure, but Captain DeWolf, can your people keep the scroll occupied? We can try, mister. After all, that's what we're paid for. Thanks. Hey, Skipper, I know Reed Richards designed these blasters, but build up, Ryan. You want to live forever? Come on, let's get to work. And those blasters, what do they look like, Shane?
They're weird, like red back to the red and yellow stuff that he like we were talking about in the first several issues. And it has like a long straight point to it. It's a really weird design. I Not quite sure what to call it, but it is like a laser gun of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, I know they say they're designed by Reed Richards, but that color scheme makes me think of Tony Stark.
Yeah, except for like the first three issues of Fantastic Four where everything's like red and yellow.
So we turn the page as the cops yell, "Open fire!" And the shots impact the Super Scroll and it makes a noise.
Yeah, Zrak.
The torch gets a little cocky here. Nice try, troops, but even Reed's blasters aren't going to do more than tickle the creep. Hey! And what happens to the torch?
Uh, Spider-Man sends up two webs to bring him back, take him out away from the Super Scroll with a nice good old thwart.
Webbing? How perceptive of you, Mr. Storm. I didn't think you'd notice. Come to Papa. I'll Papa you, lunkhead. What's the big idea? I've got more important things to do. Follow me. A few minutes later, and what are the Torch and Spider-Man doing?
They're using the train tracks to build some kind of contraption.
This is crazy. Those cops are getting mauled, and we're down here tying rails into knots. Trust me, okay? My idea will work. Hey, Flameface, didn't you ever see that old SF flick, The Thing? Have you ever seen The Thing, Shane?
Um, which thing? They're the old one or John Carpenter's The Thing?
I believe they're talking about the old one because this is 1977.
So I don't think I've ever seen that one. I might have. I
It's
think
a
I
classic
definitely,
from what I
I think,
understand. I haven't seen it either, so
I think I have because I have that problem of going to sleep to watching the Universal Monster Channel on Pluto.
and
And
it plays on there. That's interesting. I might have to look that up.
they play all kinds of stuff on there, dude. But my favorite part is when I go to bed. That usually is when they do their monsters. They do like 2 hour monsters, and that's what I fell asleep to as a kid. So it's like falling asleep to the same thing as an adult, I guess. I don't know.
So Johnny's welding these rails together, and Spider-Man has insulated his hands with webbing, and he's holding a couple of live wires. Response
Hmm.
to his question about the Thing movie, Johnny says, "I live with a thing, remember? For you, I'll make this simple. When the scroll flies between the poles, it'll be like he stuck his nose into a light socket. Bang, zap, pow. No more scroll. I hope." Nice idea, Spidey. Question is, how are you going to persuade the scroll to fly into your improvised trap? And what's happening in this panel, Shane?
The scroll is punching a, I would say lifting, but his hand is literally a fist. So he literally just punched a car up to threaten them with like, because it was in his way. He wanted to get to them. They were like behind the car, and it looks like he just went underneath and just was like with a reed arm and then hand, and then changed it to a thing hand and just punched it out of the way.
And the
Because why
cops
not?
are fleeing. Everyone, fall back! We can't hold him! I, humans, flee before the power of the mightiest warrior in the Skrull Empire. And thank your gods I let you escape with your lives. The so-called Human Torch and his companion will not be so lucky. Heads up, partner! Company's coming and he looks like he means business. Take care of things here, Spidey. I'll keep Skrully off your back. Don't forget to write. Torchy's really pouring it on. His flame's burning so bright it's like staring at a miniature star. Better get back to work. Oh boy, I just had an awful thought. After all this, what if my plan doesn't succeed? And we move on to the next panel. Place cut 1,000 yards up the Hudson, where we find a stately ocean liner, last of a proud line. Her 7 p.m. departure delayed by a wildcat strike. making her way out to sea. And aboard that liner, as fascinated by the riverside Donnybrook as the rest of her fellow passengers, we find Carol Danvers, editor of Woman magazine. They're superheroes, Daniel. You get used to them in New York. I should know, as Ms. Marvel, I'm one of them. I wish I could tell who the Torch is fighting. Blast it. I want to help, but I can't. The Wing Commander's sticking to me like a leech. There's no way I can switch to Ms. Marvel without blowing my real identity sky high.
You need some glasses like her. Just throwing it out there.
Describe to me what Carol's wearing here.
Um, it's like it's a very of the time green and white dress that would have been very fashionable of the time for a woman. And the glasses are like a green shaded, like a light green shade too.
Like green aviators.
Yeah.
That's a pity, Ms. Danvers, because the Torch himself would be the first to admit he needs your help. And what's happening here, sir?
The Torch is throwing everything he can at the Super Scroll, leaving nothing left on the table. Just throwing fireballs left and right.
And the Super Scroll is blocking them with flames of his own. One point in my favor, at least. My power's a lot stronger now than when we last fought. My flame blaster's staggering him. But that's all. And then we switch to a shot of an asteroid in space. The scroll stands firm under the torch's onslaught, while across the universe, an asteroid orbiting the scroll throne world. We go back to the torch, who is hammering away on the super scroll with his fist. Gotta keep up the pressure. Fool, you fight a losing battle, for my powers do more than mimic those of the Fantastic Four. They surpass them. Back to the asteroid, which monitors the battle, bridging, as it has for years, the unimaginable gulf between his world and ours with a monstrous energy beam. And now the torch and the scroll look like they're becoming almost supernova white hot as they grapple with each other.
Yeah, this is their Super Saiyan time.
Oh, yeah? If you're so hot ugly, how come you've always been beaten? The past does not matter, child. There is only the present, wherein I shall match my antimatter blast against the full force of your Nova flame and conquer. Now we see inside the asteroid into their computer database.
Yeah, or their crossword puzzle.
It's a heck of a crossword puzzle.
It looks like a crossword puzzle.
A beam designed to give the scroll all the raw power he'll ever need, and more. And what happens, Shane?
Um, the scroll turns the tide and starts wailing on Johnny.
Witling, have you forgotten that while you have but one power, I have many, and I can attack with them all? The final victory is mine! And he lands a punch with his Thing Fist.
Yep. Shook.
Thing Fist, coming at me! No! Torch! He took that punch head on. I've got to get up there. And Spidey throws himself over the fence and sees that the torch is being attended to by Captain DeWolf. Captain DeWolf, is he? I'm alive, pal. Barely. Shock of punch. Nearly totaled me. Managed to break my fall just before I hit. You rest easy, pal. My power grid's all set to go, and Spider-Man's grabbed by Lieutenant Scarf. Don't do it, Spidey. For pity's sake, you're one man. This job needs the whole FF, or the Avengers. And brother, you sure ain't them. So be smart. For once, I I know it'll be a strain. Stay out of this alive. And the torch passes out.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as bad as he looks, just banged up a bit. With rest, he'll be good as new in no time. Spidey, you're going after the scroll, aren't you? Despite what the torch said. Spidey, he was right. Captain DeWolf, I've got to do what I've got to do. And what do we see in the next panel, Shane?
In the next panel, we see Super Scroll with something he stole from Reed, and looks like he's going to try to take over the boat. It looks like the same boat that Miss Danvers is on.
There! This sensor I jury-rigged in Reed Richards' laboratory has not failed me. The prize I seek is aboard the aquatic vessel. A few moments more, and it'll be mine. Not if I can help it, Bunky. And what
And
happens?
he, Spider-Man whips it right out of his hand.
You want your toy back, you refugee from Muppets Monster lineup? You'll have to take it. That I shall enjoy doing, human worm. And the scroll once again flames on and pursues Spider-Man in flight. From your crushed and broken body. Talk is cheap, Dumbo. That's the spirit, Scully. All you have to do is follow my lead, while all I have to do is throw this switch. Spider-Man leads him under the gateway of rails that the torch had created and grabs a switch and flips it with a
Black.
and let nature take its course. And what happens, Shane?
He gets electrocuted with it looks like he almost yells out, "Yar!"
Hey, it worked! For a moment, it looks like Spidey's pulled it off, and then what happens, Shane?
Uh, well, it doesn't work, and Super Skrull is mad and starts ripping it apart.
You dare! By all the guardians of all the pits of hell, the Super Scroll will be free! Did you think I was some weakling to be bested by a child's construct of wire and metal? The thought had crossed my mind. I have stood enough insolence. Before I am done human, you will beg me for the swift, sure release of death. Then, and only then, Spider-Man, will you finally die. I had a feeling it was going to be one of those days. It's Spidey and Ms. Marvel joining forces to face the Super Skrull in a battle royal that ranges from the Penn Central rail yards to the Statue of Liberty, building to the surprise ending of the year. Be here in 30 days for all this and the QE2. Shane, what's the QE2?
Uh, I was gonna ask you for sure what that one was.
So you understand the reference. The QE2 is actually in reference to the boat that we saw earlier, the Queen Elizabeth II, which is it was a passenger liner. I believe it was retired in, I want to say, 2008. Yep, the Queen Elizabeth II was retired in 2008. So yeah, obviously this story ends on a cliffhanger. But, we're going to introduce a little concept here I'm going to refer to as foreshortened, which is kind of a summary of what happens in the next issue. So in Marvel Team Up 62, Spidey continues to engage Super Skrull, who seems to weaken, but both adversaries figure out that power lines hanging above them are interfering with the transmission that empowers the Super Skrull. And he causes an explosion, which allows him to escape, and he rockets towards the Queen Elizabeth II. He locates with that device he had a hidden uh, Cavorite crystal on the ship, which he intends to use to simultaneously escape and destroy Earth. But he finds himself confronted by Ms. Marvel, who ends up being distracted by the crystal, and she gets knocked off the boat and goes careening towards the Statue of Liberty. However, Spidey, who co-opted a ride on a police chopper, manages to web her and swing her back to the ship. They come up with a plan where Spidey distracts the Skrull, and Ms. Marvel wraps electrical wires around the ship's rigging, weakens the transmission once again, and then shuts off the power to the wires, causing the crystal to get a massive energy surge that teleports the Skrull away from Earth. So that's what you're missing in Marvel Team Up 62.
Fun. The
It's a good
opposite
story. I
of
recommend reading it. It's
the
just
opposite of the last issue we were in.
yeah, there's no Fantastic Four, so we're not going to do an in-depth coverage of it here. But for those curious, highly suggest checking out. Again, beautiful John Byrne art, wonderful Claremont writing. And this was back when Claremont was, also the steward for Carol Danvers in the Ms. Marvel series. So it all ties into that too. So just an interesting side note, or rather just a historical side note, however you want to put it. After this issue and the next, it's just shy of 2 years later when John Byrne actually ends up taking over art duties on Fantastic Four with issue 209. And then a year after that, with issue 220, he takes over writing as well. And then Claremont comes back and writes Fantastic Four versus X-Men in 1987. And then between 1998 and 2000, shortly after the start of Volume 3, I think he comes in issue 4. He does about a 2 year run on the book with Heroes Return. But yeah, nice little first look at the work that they would end up doing.
You know that I like the burn run, so I didn't
Mhm.
realize about the how much later that was Claremont that came back in right after Heroes Reborn.
Anyway, Shane, what are your thoughts on this issue?
I really enjoyed this issue. It was a nice palate cleanser after reading 1, 2, 3, 4 last week.
Yeah, I thought you might. Little Bronze Age fun for you.
Yeah, much appreciated fun.
So what stood out to you here, Shane?
Um, the art stood out to me because I just really liked the color palette and the vibrance of the of this book and the layouts. Like I said, that one whole scene where he swings around, um, where they do the whole pendulum onto the roof thing, that was just so awesome. Just stuff you don't see in modern comics that they were just it seemed so normal at the time. What did you like? What stood out to you, bud?
I feel like it's a very complete picture of the goings on in the interconnectedness of the Marvel universe. I mean, obviously it's Marvel team up, but in this issue, I mean, I like that not only do we get Spider-Man and the Torch teaming up against the Super Skrull, we get cameos from Ms. Marvel, Thing, Reed Richards, Tigra. We get mentions of Red Wolf and Yellow Jacket and Wasp. It just it really helps lend a little bit more of a epic scale with the interconnectedness with it.
Yeah, it makes the FF actually feel like they're part of the Marvel universe.
And as well they should because they are the book that starts it all. You want to hit our four things?
Sure.
So we'll start with favorite panel. I'm going to let you go first, Shane.
Page 9, or well, it's page 9 in Unlimited. I guess it's like it would be page 8 of the book technically.
Yeah, the full page splash.
Yeah. With all the nonsense going on, it's great. Johnny just has a little bit of flame coming off of him. The Thing's hand right at the end of the Mr. Fantastic arm, the other hand on fire. It's just great. And then that on the belt. you see the thing that he stole from Reed that later shows up at the end of the book.
Nice sense of foreshadowing. Uh, Again, you and I have picked the same favorite panel, which is the page 8 full splash. I have Super Scroll in all of his glory. Uh, from all the FF powers being exhibited, I guess with the exception of the Invisible Woman or Invisible Girl as she was known then. But yeah, the design of the piece of tech on his belt I really like. The facial expression, just I love it. Absolutely. Just this alien rage that I think is conveyed so well. And also the I can't really take anything away from the fact that, definitely Spider-Man has been surprised and knocked on his butt. He looks like he's trying to recover here and torch ready for battle. It just adds like it raises the stakes. And I really
Hmm.
like that. All right, and now we'll move on to our This Aged Poorly moment. I'll go ahead and start with that, and we're going to go to page 13, panel 4. And that is the panel where you see the Queen Elizabeth II floating past Manhattan, and in the background, you can make out the Twin Towers. And would you believe that we have reached a point now in Marvel history where their sliding time scale means that there's no possible way that they could have existed at this point of time? They would have already been knocked down by the September 11th attacks.
Uh, Interesting. Fair enough.
So at this point, I guess we'd be looking at One World Trade Center instead, or a construction site. More likely One World Trade Center, though. What did you have for this age poorly?
The quote unquote borrowing of the totem, because they used the word borrow in quotations when it was just stolen. She stole it from the police.
And that was
Uh, it's page
7.
7, the first panel.
Okay. Now, why would you say that aged poorly? People use
Uh,
that expression all the time.
what?
Borrowed,
The
stole it.
quote unquote borrowed. I just really didn't like that in the story, but it to get to where they were going with the soul stick. It made sense, but I just didn't like the whole. It didn't seem like it needed to be in this story. They could have come up with another reason why she had that without having her have to steal it from the police.
Okay. So in that case, I guess what would then make your what were they thinking moment, which is our third of our four things.
Well, for me, because I didn't realize that 62 had Miss Marvel in it, I was wondering why the hell Miss Marvel was in this book. So now knowing that she's in the second one, I didn't read ahead. I only read this book and then I was like, then I read it a second time. So that was my what were they thinking? Like, because they didn't even let her be Miss Marvel. I'm like, why are you going to show me Miss Marvel and then not let her be Miss Marvel?
Foreshadowing.
That's great, except for I'm in this book right now.
So that would put you at page 13 as well. Okay.
And then yourself, sir.
So my what were they thinking is page 7, panel 3. Ben, my guy. It's been long enough that you should know better than to break things you, and especially Reed Richards, do not understand.
That's fair.
Like, I get you want to keep characterization, but there's something to be said for characters also learning lessons from previous events. And this is 16 years into the Fantastic Four's history.
Yeah, he's a stubborn rock man. What do you expect?
Fourth thing for this week will be the page turner moment. This one I went with page 2, panels 2 through 6. So the reason I went with those is you get the build up of the attack on Spidey, by seeing all the Fantastic Four use their powers, and it made me excited to see what, I thought would be the Fantastic Four coming into the book. But alas, that was not to be.
Well, for myself, it's back to page 7. It is the last panel in page 7.
Oh, with the thing fist slamming down on the ground.
Yeah, that leads into that super awesome splash page. Yeah.
It's a good choice. I like that choice a lot.
That's where that was just what it I was like, "Oh, I was like there were so many things I could have done." Like um yeah, that was just the I was like flipping through and I'm like, "What stands out the most to me?" And it was like that giant fist just coming down whamming and then you're like, "What?" And you go to the next thing and then boom, it's the super scroll.
Yeah, it's a great lead in. Absolutely. And I love the fact that it's just the combination of Reed and Ben's powers, and it just makes for such an impact.
Really? Look, so much so that it has a wham.
Whammy! So, as far as collections containing this story, you can find it in The Fantastic Four by John Byrne Omnibus Volume 1, which was published back in November 2011. And also find it in the Spider-Man by John Byrne Omnibus, which was published in September of 2019. And it is also included in Marvel Masterworks Marvel Team Up Volume 6, which was published in September of 2021. Or you could just read it on Marvel Unlimited. Or have some fun sorting through your back issue bins.
Yeah, we figured out the prices now, so
Yeah. So use that to your advantage. Haggle. Haggle
haggle.
to your heart's content. So you interested to hear what we're doing next week, Shane?
Yeah, very much so.
So you had those wonderful opinions on Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. Wonderful opinions.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
wonderful opinions. But we might actually put that to the test and see if we can surpass those because we are going to cover Fantastic Four Volume 2, Number 1, part of the Heroes Reborn initiative from 1996, 1997 by Jim Lee and Brandon Choi. If you thought there were some divisive opinions on Grant Morrison and Jay Lee's work, I'm very interested to hear how you feel about this.
Divisive opinions? I only had an opinion, and it was not very good.
Yeah, I mean your opinion and my opinion were very opposite ends of the spectrums here.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement.
I've never read this run, so I'm looking forward to sitting down and getting started on it. We'll see how long that lasts. But hey, we're going to come at it objectively. We're going to keep an open mind.
All right, so oh yeah, there it is. Oh boy. Okay. I got to get myself in the mindset to read 90s comics.
Yeah, I
Because
think we're keeping this pretty even. We've been to the 60s, we've been to the 70s, we've been to the 2000s. Now we're going to the 90s. I think we're keeping a good mix here.
I can already tell by that cover that there's going to be some character designs that are questionable. I'm assuming that comes from good old Mr. Lee. I'm, even if he's not drawing it, I'm sure he had more than enough to say. And
Oh, he's definitely drawing.
is he actually drawing this one?
Yeah.
Oh, good God. Jim Lee plot and pencils. Oh, and Ben. Okay, good. That makes more sense even.
I'm excited, frankly. Something new.
Oh, it's definitely new. I've never read this because I just generally stick to Jim Lee with X-Men.
No, it's also good stuff.
and a little bit of Batman. That's about it. It could be
Anyway,
triple
any
D's.
final thoughts on today's issue, sir?
No, you should definitely read it though. It's super fun. It's quick. I enjoyed the hell out of this issue. Like, I probably read it 3 times today, on not including this.
Yeah,
So
it's a good time. I probably also read it 3 times while preparing for the podcast here tonight. But
it was a fun time. It was a little fun little romp. I like seeing Spider-Man.
who doesn't like seeing Spider-Man? It's almost impossible to dislike Spider-Man unless you know you're mired in 4 years of clones.
We just like to pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I wish Marvel would.
They did for like a minute, and then they decided to do it again. Because if
Yep.
it doesn't work the first time, it's definitely going to work the second time.
It's called hubris.
That's not something they have.
Something they have in spades. Anyway, we would like to thank all of you for once again tuning in and listening. Uh, please help us out. Leave us a review on Apple or a comment on Spotify. And yeah, subscribe. You can get this podcast in your feed every week.
Yeah, that would be great. That would help us out big time. It would be nice to see us move up the ladder a little bit.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
Power of positivity.
I positively love almost every issue that we've read. There's, I have a I'm positive that there's 3 more issues that I will not like.
Give him a chance.
Positively positive that I'm going to give them a chance and still not like them.
That's not fair.
When you give me the covers that they give me, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, he's Shane Murray. I'm Nate Charles, and we'd like to thank you once again for tuning in to the Fantastic Four Fancast. And we'll see you next time.